Aye, aye. What's really going on? Bitcoin, cryptocurrency, going to be taking a look at Doge against US dollar tether on the Binance chart. We're going to be taking a look at some of the technical aspects of price action moving forward. Some insane price action here with this new swing high out of this very tight range of consolidation that we've been in for the past couple months there. We're going to be assessing some key levels, some key kind of short-term ranges I believe we're going to be interacting with before we see perhaps another pump or some continued sideways, and as the bullishness of Dogecoin is ever so abundant. But from a technical perspective, we are quite overbought, and a pullback is to be expected. So to quickly jump into it, let's recap this kind of prior price action. We came from next to worthless all the way up to kind of 1 cent, the 1 cent range there. Traded down below it for a couple weeks. We seem to be having these almost a month of consolidation before the breakout. We have another 2 weeks of sideways before a breakout. Our most recent sideways lasted for several months. We have a good over more than 2 months there of sideways, like 2.5 months of sideways between this ridiculous range of kind of like 5 cents and sort of 7 cents there. It wasn't until we were finally able to break into this significant resistance zone and kind of step our way up into there. We had like the wick up to 7 cents from 5 cents. We pulled all the way back down to kind of 5.5 again, 5.4. Rallied up, had another 13% pullback. Rallied up from a swing high, had another 12% pullback when we had the swing high off of kind of 7.8 sort of cents there, and we had that 12% kind of pullback all the way down, perfectly retesting this kind of key resistance range that I believe as soon as we started to close above, we could be way more short-term bullish, and we did. We spent the whole day above this kind of key range, above 7 cents, traded sideways, and held that level, which was very significant, and what allowed us to kind of set some new swing highs here, and then rally all the flipping way up to 44 cents, 45 cents. That is just absolutely insane. From the beginning of this month, we've seen 745% gains. We're currently up 480% since the beginning of this month, the beginning of April there, which is just ridiculous, just insane for Dogecoin. Way too insane of gains in a very short amount of time. It seems as though every time we sell off, every time we sell off, it gets bought right back up. We had like a 47% pullback that was bought up very, very quickly, and we're now sitting only 30% kind of down from the sort of swing high a couple days ago. And so with that, I see kind of several perspectives kind of come into play here, and I believe we could have some potential sideways similar to the kind of most recent sort of breakout and consolidation that we've had here at the swing high around 8 cents, 8.5 cents, kind of 9 cents there at the end of January. We had that 73% pullback, 74% pullback, which is far more significant than the current pullback we're in. But say we print a pullback kind of similar to that. Say we rally back up and we print a lower high similar to the one back there. So we print that lower high, and we trade sideways in this kind of crazy range as prices get tighter and try to establish themselves perhaps at a round level, perhaps 25 cents to 30 cents. Could be a psychological round level that we need to hold before we can kind of continue and see another 100% in Doge again. Now, when we slap on EngineeringRobo along with some fettuccine lines, we have a new perspective come into play. We have this, we have the buy 4 still present during kind of all this. We have the buy 4 coming in back at the beginning of January 2021 during the sideways. We had the early bird super buy 2, buy 3 to support this breakout. And then we had the hell come in briefly to suggest some sideways kind of pending, but the buy 4 and the early bird were still present. The moon returned shortly after the hell during this kind of sideways, showing this to be some very bullish consolidation and a break upward is to be as suggested. We have the early birds coming in during sideways. Early birds, this is getting early in on the breakout. These early birds suggesting a breakout pending. So these were some great levels to enter. Super buy supporting that early bird, the most recent early bird on April 1st there at the beginning of the month, to really suggest that we were going to have a break upward. But there were some other key factors that would deter traders from buying at these levels, even though there were these very strong supporting buy signals and these kind of suggestions here. That's why we don't doubt EngineeringRobo. When EngineeringRobo says it's going to pump, we probably are. And so even though we were very overbought and we were very technically in the FOMO zone, which we will address later, there were still some very, very significant supporting buy signals suggesting we could very easily, make some crazier gains, even though we were in a range with some very, very high sell pressure. Now, during this consolidation, there was very minimal volume, very minimal sell volume during all this, which is what held significance and which is what allowed us to kind of maintain a long kind of 5 cents there. Finally, we have tons of buy pressure coming into this breakout, very minimal sell pressure. So the bullishness of Dogecoin is ever so apparent still, and we could very much see some continued gains as we inch towards the $1 range there. Now, when we consider the price of Dogecoin against the relative price of Bitcoin, we see kind of new perspective here. Significant range between the 97 Satoshi there. We held support for those kind of couple months, then until finally stepped up and broke through this key range of resistance between 111 and 120 Satoshi. I believe that was going to be a very key significant range of resistance. We were able to finally peak above, start closing kind of above toward the upper kind of part of it before we were finally able to blast off and set some higher highs past the 259 Satoshi resistance there. We have to zoom all the way out to see where the swing high finally went up to, all the way to 738 Satoshi. Absolutely insane. Price action just looks so dwarfed compared to the most recent candles here. This price action back in the earlier kind of history of Dogecoin looks so minimal until you zoom all the way in and you can see kind of the ups and downs. But from where we are now, we're so far from worthless, where Dogecoin spent so much of its time, that we could really see an interesting future. Now, when we throw on EngineeringRobo along with the Fibonacci lines of sacred angles and mathematics, we have some key levels I believe we can interact with in the very short term here. I see nice correlation with the 0.5, 0.618, 0.786, and this one level. This seems to be the significant range that we could have some bounces in. We could very much bounce in like this. Say we come up, print some lower highs, we could consolidate kind of at a kind of above this manner before kind of taking off again. This was some very insane gains against the price of Bitcoin. Even when Bitcoin had its ridiculous sell-off just the other day, Dogecoin was able to actually still gain against Bitcoin and maintain its kind of bullishness. And so Dogecoin is in a very, very weird state right now. We have the super buy and buy for coming into play during consolidation towards the end of it. We have the sell for during all this sideways, the buy for coming in like a week before the big breakout. Perfect time to enter. Super buy coming in. We have been holding above this 200 moving average for ever since we made that swing high back in January of 2021 and 29th of January there. We've been staying above this 200 moving average, suggesting we were going to be able to stay bullish against the price of Bitcoin and see some more gains kind of further. And so we finally are. We have like buy for, super buy to support the breakout, and we were finally able to gain against Bitcoin and set some higher swing highs here. And now I do believe this to be a range we could be trading in. I do suspect, with it being so overbought, unless we have tons of FOMO at this range and we double overnight, I do suspect some prolonged sideways to occur, perhaps another month or two of sideways like this, some very tight sideways to further solidify the long-term bullishness of Dogecoin. But after an aggressive multi-100% pump like this, we're going to need some sideways or some sell-off. Dogecoin does have a history of selling off very aggressively as it comes up. It does have a history of becoming very relevant briefly for whatever reason, skyrocketing by over 1,000% or whatever ridiculous figure, and then it does have a habit of selling right off where it came from. And so there is a very very minor chance still at all times that Dogecoin could see levels that it's traded at before. We could very much return to the sub 1 cent range. It's not impossible for Dogecoin, seeing as Dogecoin doesn't really have that much use case at the moment. As adoption grows, use case will grow, and Dogecoin will have more of a place solidified for it in the crypto sphere here. But at the moment, it is just a meme project, just like a fun sort of cryptocurrency entirely based off of perceived value, as the project fundamentally isn't really doing much. But the new kind of unique fundamentals that have Dogecoin where it is revolve around Elon Musk and kind of its relevancy today. And so there's just so much indecision in the market, and there's so much going on for Dogecoin right now in the crypto sphere that it's really hard to determine where price action could really take us. I do see more bullishness for Dogecoin in the long term. I suspect we can see the dollar Dogecoin, but I'm always trying to go with the flow of the market. So if momentum does decide to change at any point in time, we could very easily. I'm very much expecting, if we do decide to sell off, I'm expecting a very, very aggressive sell off back to previous levels that we've come from. But Tons going on, lots going on. Very bullish at the moment still. If we take a look at the price of Bitcoin itself against US dollar tether on the Binance chart, we can see a new perspective come into play. What just happened? We had this big insane rejection off of 65K, traded sideways in a bearish manner, kind of off of that 65K all the way back down to 60. We failed to hold 60, and we due to the bed all the way down to an aggressive 51K. The low 50Ks there printed a higher low relative to the dip back in 25th of March 2021. That is still a higher low, technically. So we could very well come down if we start holding above 52, 51K kind of thing. I do believe we can still be kind of long-term bullish, short-term bullish at that stage. But although if we do start closing kind of in this low 50K range and we fail to hold 52, we could very easily see the 40s again, low 40s again perhaps, which I believe would be nothing for Bitcoin. You know, if you come back down to the 40Ks, that would be just like the most insane time to be buying in, because we're going to be seeing the 80K to 100K range in the next kind of few months here, I'm sure. If we consider the fear and FOMO zone on the price of Bitcoin here against US dollar tether, we see kind of a sort of new perspective there. We are nowhere near the FOMO zone just yet. We have the FOMO zone all the way up there at 80K, 81K. So that's when the real like fundamental FOMO will pump us up to 100K. We'll come in around that level, I believe. Now we're going to be trading kind of nicely sideways and, you know, healthily stepping our way up kind of thing. You know, rather than just like bursting violently through resistance like we have been kind of in the last sort of key levels here. We do seem to now be very, you know, naturally stepping our way up. This does seem like it'd be a very aggressive dump. You know, this thing, very aggressive dumps and pumps, but price action like this, I do believe, is healthier for Bitcoin rather than just you know, going straight up or straight down. This kind of gradual stepping pattern is more healthy and will support the trend upward long term, I believe. If we consider Dogecoin against the price of the US dollar, but on a different exchange, for example, let's just use Bittrex here, just for, you know, for example. There's plenty of other exchanges that probably have enough price action to show the fear and FOMO zone for Dogecoin. For this example, I'm using Bittrex. We are way up in the FOMO zone. This is insane. This is what caused, you know, this very parabolic run. FOMO, tons of FOMO at this level. The longer we held sideways in the FOMO zone, the more FOMO is brewing, and the more bullish we can be. There's definitely, you know, a very volatile range. There's tons of sell pressure. This was very, very high sell pressure in this range, deterring me from taking significant positions in Dogecoin. But, you know, you can never ignore EngineeringRobo. When EngineeringRobo says it's looking like it's going to pump, it's probably going to pump, even though we're in the FOMO zone. Being in the FOMO zone, while there is this high sell pressure, there's also FOMO. So tops are bought, rallies are created, you know, like I said, tops are bought, and so these pumps kind of continue into a very unbelievable manner. We've been in the FOMO zone for, you know, a good almost 3 months now, and so that's just insane. Realistically, I do believe we're going to exit the FOMO zone at some point here, but with the overall just insaneness and volatility of Dogecoin, who really knows? We could very much trade sideways within the FOMO zone and have another kind of parabolic run. But after the pump like this, I do suspect some sideways. If we can trade sideways like this in a tight range for a couple more weeks, we can, you know, easily see some more bullish gains for Dogecoin. Now, thank you for tuning in. Check out all those social media down below. Try EngineeringRobo, free, link in the description. Subscribe here on YouTube. Look out for EngineeringRobo's buy and sell signals. Watch out for momentum to change at any moment. We're up in the FOMO zone, way higher into the FOMO zone as we ever were before. So a aggressive sell-off is not going to be surprising if that does occur. Watch out for momentum changes. Thank you for tuning in, and tune in for the next one.